Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I have an unboxing video for the Razer Blackwidow Elite keyboard. So I did the unboxing video for the mouse that I just got, which is the Viper Ultimate. So I wanted to kind of go with my second rig into the Razer ecosystem and just kind of test out the different peripherals that they have to offer. This one had everything that I wanted. One of the big things was the dedicated media controls. I do like that with my keyboards. This one is wired versus my G915 here, which is wireless. This one is the tactile and silent. This is going to be the same thing here. So this on the back, it'll tell you that this is the linear and silent. The other ones, you have tactile and silent, and then you have tactile and clicky. So with the tactile and clicky, you're looking at the green switches. With the tactile and silent, you're looking at the orange. And then this one right here is going to be the linear and silent, and this is going to be the yellow. I was looking at the orange, and it's 130 bucks on Amazon, and typically this is $170. But it wasn't going to get in until like mid next month, so I didn't want to have to wait on it. I don't want the extremely clicky keyboards. I've had them before, it's just not my thing. And so with this, I went with the yellows. As you can see on the bottom of the box, so this came from Amazon Warehouse. So this is like new. Obviously it has the original boxing with this. I only paid $105. I've done that with some other products, and when I can, I do end up going that route to save a little bit of money, but they don't even have this available to buy new at all, and they don't tell you when they're going to get some more in. It's just, that was the only option, so I went with that. So with this, let me just quickly, actually before I even do this, talk about just some of the specs with it, because they have it on the back of the box here. So the actuation point on this is going to be 1.2 millimeters. Actuation versus reset point is 0 millimeters. And then the lifespan, they have 80 million keystrokes. Actuation force is 45 grams. And like I said, these are the linear and silent. Now the difference between these two though, this is the, like I said, the Logitech G915. This thing was, typically it's 250 bucks. I got it on sale for 230. That's a hefty price tag, right? 130 bucks more than this. This one is wireless, has the dedicated media controls and all of that. And then it has things like, which is one of my favorite parts, which is the light sync, where it actually will end up mimicking the colors that are on screen for you with that. And a couple other things, but I haven't reviewed that yet, but that's a really, really good keyboard. It's just really expensive. So let's go ahead and pop this thing open. There it is. And now, so we have our stuff up top. Let's see how we get this out. Okay, so it comes in like a little foam deal. So we have our cord, and then with the end here, you're going to have your USB input for the keyboard itself. You have your port, and then you have your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. One of the other draws with looking at this is on the side, you actually have that USB port on the end of the keyboard, as well as the option to use that 35 or that 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Oh, and then the pad is apparently attached to the back. The other cool thing is the wrist rest with this, which I was wanting. I have one here, but I like that, so I was hoping to get another one with this. I don't know how that necessarily clicks on. There's a magnet in there, but it's just not strong enough to hold it here. But you can feel that there's a magnet in there. So that holds right there. But let's just quickly, and I'll do a sound test with this, and that is, it's not a free spinning wheel. So the Logitech G915 has a free spinning wheel. This one actually, you can feel the clicks on it. And then we have the clicks to the buttons here, which you don't get with the G915. They're actually rubber with that, and there's just no clickiness to it. It's kind of opposite of the rest of the keyboard. So I do like that they've done that here. So let's go ahead and get this thing set up, play some games, and then just talk about kind of my general first impressions with this and what I think. Alright, so I'm all set up here, quick, easy, painless. Plugged everything into the back. I did plug in the extra USB dongle so I could have the pass-through as well as the 3.5mm headphone jack. If you don't want to use those things on the side here, you don't have to do that, and it won't take up any extra ports on the back of your PC here. Initial impressions are really good. This thing feels really, really good, but I did want to cover the differences between the switches with this one more time. So I have the yellows. Now, when you're looking at the yellows here, it's going to be more comparable to the Cherry Speed switches. In terms of the actuation point, you're looking at 1.2. The actuation point to reset, you're looking at 0. So, and that's millimeters, right? So 0 millimeters on that. When you go to the orange, that's going to be more comparable to the Cherry Browns, and with that you're looking at the 1.9 actuation point millimeters, and then for the actuation point to the reset you're looking at 0.5. And then for the greens, which are going to be more comparable to the Cherry Blues, you're looking at an actuation point of 1.9 again for the millimeters, and then actuation point to reset you're looking at 0.4 millimeters. So that's kind of the difference with this, but before I move forward, I do want to give a sound test with this so you guys can actually hear what this sounds like. And I'm actually going to do this against the Logitech G915. So I'll do it by itself, and then I'll actually get to do it where I'm comparing the two. And with that, the G915, that's actually going to be tactile. This is going to be linear, so you get to hear the difference between those two. So let's go ahead and click over to the sound test. Alright, so that was the sound test. Really impressed with the feel of this. I do like the tactile feel in the sound with the Logitech G915. You got to hear that comparison. But using the linear switches here, I do like these as well. One of the big things that I think about outside of just playing games is, can I type on this for a long period of time? I have a publishing company, we do kids books, so I'm at the computer writing stories, and I need that to be comfortable. The wrist rest that comes with this feels really good as well. So the fact that it comes with it, but two, it's actually really comfortable. And if you don't want it, you can just detach it, which is awesome. I had to buy my own, the Logitech G915. That didn't come with one, so I bought my own, and that's fine. But the fact that it's $250 and then I spend $25 on a wrist rest, that's a lot of money. Okay? This one comes with it, and it is comfortable. With the rubber on the bottom too, it's not going to slide around a lot. And then the rubber on the bottom of the keyboard, this thing just really isn't going to move. I've had other keyboards that just slide across my desk, and the top of this autonomous desk doesn't really help that. It's actually pretty slick, but hopefully next month I'll get this replaced with this new live wood top that I'm going to get. But that is one of the things that I noticed. This thing's pretty solid. It's just not going to move, and I really like that. Now, outside of that, looking at the LED lights over here, we have 5. You're looking at the different profiles that you can actually have. Beyond that, if you actually turn on the gaming feature, which disables the Windows key, it's going to let you know that that is turned on. And then a big surprise was there's an M up here, and I pushed that. I didn't know what was going on, and you can actually record macros just on the keyboard. You don't need to go through the software. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, it took me a minute to figure out what I had done, and actually just essentially wiped out the enter key, so I couldn't do anything with that, and it took me a minute. Looked through the manual, finally figured it out, had to go through the software to delete that. But the fact that you can do that, I haven't seen that on another keyboard. That's not to say it doesn't exist. It probably does. I haven't used a keyboard that has that feature. I'm usually going through the software, so I thought that was pretty cool. Beyond that, the lighting effects with this, you have your standard ones, right? So we're going to look at breathing, reactive, ripple, spectrum cycling, starlight, static, wave, wheel. You have audio meter as well, so if you're playing music or the audio from your game, it's going to be reactive to the keyboard. I have seen that as well. Not as common, I don't think, with keyboards. I may be wrong on that. But a really cool one is fire, which looks like just a roaring fire going on. I haven't seen that with Logitech or Corsair. Corsair, I know they have a ton of options and people can create their own though. So there's probably a bunch of stuff out there that they've created that's even cooler than this. But the fact that it's just, by default it has that is really cool. And then ambient awareness. So ambient awareness, this is actually what Logitech calls screen sampling. So for theirs, I have the Logitech G560 speakers, and the keyboard I mentioned, it does that as well. Now with theirs, you choose the boxes that you want to place, and you're choosing this area on your screen that is going to sample directly from that. This one, we just have 5 different ones. You have the whole screen, the left side, the right side, top, bottom. But it's going to essentially sample whatever colors are in that space, and it's going to replicate it to the colors on the keyboard. And I wasn't expecting that, so that's a really good surprise. I like that. That's actually what I have on my Logitech G560 and my speakers here. My speakers and my keyboard, sorry, my G915, by default, I have screen sampling on all the time. I just like that. It makes for a very immersive gameplay experience. So, playing games with this was really, really enjoyable. I went ahead and booted up Terraria. With the screen sampling, it did some, and it does it with the 915. I don't know if it's on Relogic's side, but it actually does some cool effects on the keyboard. So I don't know if it's by default it's going to do it with that, or just in general it will if it has lights. But that's a game that I actually use the keyboard a lot more with, and it feels really, really good. Response is phenomenal. And then I booted up Doom, and for me, Doom felt great. The response was phenomenal. That's probably one of the faster games that I play. I don't play competitive games, so if you're looking at CSGO, PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, any of those games I don't actually play. So if somebody's a competitive gamer, it's one of those things that they're probably going to want to go with the yellow just because of the response time, but they're going to need something in terms of a review or an unboxing that's way more detailed than I'm giving with this. But for Doom in general, it just feels really, really good playing those 2 games. And I played Satisfactory, I booted up Subnautica, played a couple other games, and that felt really good. But with Doom, the response, I had 0 lag. I had no problems with it. It just feels good. So with that, and then the lighting showed up on this as well, which was really, really cool. But with this, I'm impressed. I want to spend more time with this. I need to actually get my Gigabyte monitor back just because that actually broke down after 3 days of getting it, so I had to send it back. So I'm waiting on that, and then I'm going to take all this stuff downstairs and really put more time. I'm going to leave it up here and continue to work on it, but I want to use it downstairs as well. Another last minute thing is the font on this, by the way, is different than other keyboards that I've seen, and I really like the look of this thing. Just like I said, the font looks phenomenal in my opinion. It was just different. So overall, it just has a lot of upside, so I'm excited to spend more time with it. But that's actually going to wrap this video up. I'm going to put a link for this in the description, so you guys can not only find this, but if you want to find the green or the orange keys, you can do that as well. I do like the yellows. Keep in mind, like I said, the orange is going to be next month, and then I think they did have the greens, it's just the clickiness of that I didn't want. But that's going to be it for this video. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.